Two senior judges are giving evidence to the Royal Commission into youth detention in Darwin today. The Commission is looking into pre- and post-detention, including policing, charging and arrest, as well as child protection and children in care. Here's reporter Georgia Hitch with more. Georgia, what's been said so far?
Well, Ros, this morning we've heard from the former Chief Magistrate Hilary Hannam, and she started by talking about her experience when she was working in the Northern Territory. She's no longer in this territory. She's a member of she's a sitting judge on the Family Court now, but she started off by speaking about her experience coming to the Northern Territory, and one of the things that she recognised was the lack of expertise in the youth justice system more broadly. So that included the judiciary, it included the government departments and some of the other agencies taking care of children in detention. And she said that this could be a real issue when you're dealing with really the geographical size of the territory. Circuit courts which go out to remote communities would sometimes have magistrates on them that didn't really have a particular interest in youth justice or didn't have much expertise, and that there was really nothing you could do. Or the one example she gave was there's one magistrate in Katherine, and if they didn't have a particular interest in youth justice or hadn't had a lot of history and background in it, then they're not going to be the people that are best equipped to deal with these matters. So she touched on that. She also touched on the fragmentation of the justice system, that when she was the Chief Magistrate, it was really quite divided, and trying to get things sorted out, or if you had something fall out in a remote community, you would sort of be bounced around these different departments. You'd be sent to the Department of Education and then to the Justice Department, and that there really wasn't any kind of uniformity or interagency cooperation, and that the fragmentation really did sort of hinder the judiciary's ability to help children in detention. And finally, what she was most recently speaking about was the importance of education to children in detention. And of course, what we're hearing about now, I should mention as well, is that the Commission is listening and hearing from people about what leads up to children being in detention. So what happens beforehand, what preventative action can be taken, and then what happens after they leave in the through care program. So she was talking a lot about the importance of education as a preventative measure. And then a lot of child protection workers were almost normalising the abnormal, that there were such high rates of school non-attendance, particularly in remote areas of the territory, that they weren't seeing that as a red flag, as an indication that they might be at risk and that they might be taken into care. So she's given quite a broad view of her experience in the territory and some of the issues that she thinks and thought at the time led to child detention.
And Georgia, who else are we going to hear from?
Well, these hearings are primarily going to be, as I said, about what leads to detention and what things could change to stop the high rates of youth detention in the Northern Territory. As you mentioned, we'll be hearing from some senior judges, the former Chief Magistrate still giving evidence at the moment. And then we'll also be hearing from some of the other legal defence lawyers, some of the people representing the Aboriginal legal aid services, both for the top end and also for Central Australia. And then later in the hearings, we'll be hearing from some of the key stakeholders in that pre- and post-detention phase. So people that work with children in detention in rehabilitative capacities and also in helping them find employment after detention. So we're getting a bit of a picture now of some of the things that happen either side of youth detention and what could be improved to help people stop getting there in the first place and help people not go back after they've been released.
Thanks, Georgia.